Welcome back into this week's episode of Talkin' Tech. Hometeam Brandon Leak, the College Football Hall of Famer, all-time leading passer at Georgia Tech, Sean Nerny. We are here to break down Georgia Tech as we all have smiles on our faces because Tech got it done. They win their first home game for Jeff Collins, and I thought a well-played and well-coached offensive attack along with some really good defensive plays.
Yeah, I think the complementary football was at its best. Offense helped the defense out, defense helped the offense out, and special teams as far as, changing field position. Percy Harvin is Percy Harvin III is a weapon. And to be able to play that many players, to have injuries on the offensive line, and it hurt you a little bit with your snaps, but you're able to recover and playing a lot of different people. So that's why I'm going to give Coach Collins even extra credit for having a lot of bodies playing above the line, being able to get in there, cross-training. It was big in this game. Shout out to Coach Collins and the job he and his staff did.
Yeah, and they get that first W. I mean, the game plan obviously this week was to go in and do what you can do best with the guys that you have and go out there and get your first W of the season. They did that. They ran the ball effectively, I think, with the read option out of the quarterback, or the zone read out of the quarterback position. And Jordan Mason, fantastic game. I know he was up over 100 yards, I think, until like the last play of the game. Took a tackle for a loss and ended up with 99 yards. But he looked great on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, the guys were flying around.
Yes.
We saw so many more blitz and stun packages this week than we did in week 1 against Clemson. So you really got to see a whole lot more, some pressure coming from the outside, from the DBs and from the linebackers. And then the guys that you expect to play well played well. Wanye Thomas, Tariq Carpenter, both big games for both of those guys.
And now already you have an ACC Player of the Week.
Yeah, and we have two really, but when you talk about Charlie Thomas and some of those secondary guys, what Nerny just mentioned, or who he just mentioned, they're flying around. They love it. When are you going to call my number, Coach? I can go in there and blitz. I can go and make plays. Let me have the freedom to show my skills. And when Coach Collins is able to talk about NFL, to let you know that these are some of the things, if you want to be, if you want to stand out, can you do this? Can you blitz off the edge of you, Charlie Thomas? Can you drop into coverage? Can you force fumbles? Being able to do that many things and being able to showcase it on game day is applaudable, and everybody is contagious. Now, I don't know, I'll ask Nerny, is he doing most of that because of the talent on the field and trying to manufacture pressure? Because we know right now up front that we don't have the bodies to kind of get what we want. So now you have to send guys out of the next level. Is that, a direct result of our depth right now on the defensive line?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, ideally you would like to have, 4 guys who can get pressure by themselves. You only have to send 4 guys one-on-one and they get in the backfield. Tech, it's going to take a little bit of time to revamp that defensive line and get those guys that can do that. But, just the way that they mixed it up. I mean, it was a different coverages. I saw man coverage. I saw cover 3. Just mixing it up, trying to confuse USF, which, I mean, if you watch the game, that offense for USF, they looked confused the entire game.
Yeah, they did. Have to give credit on both sides of the ball, and Jeff Collins had his guys prepared. Quarterback, something we have been talking about, will be talking about. Did you like how things were utilized? I thought they did what they needed to do. Had a couple of injuries on the offensive line, and so Coach has to be really careful about how his trigger man and how his offense is protected with the guy who's calling or running the plays.
I don't think, looking at the game, that any of these moves were necessarily scripted. I do know the start of the second half when you got James Graham starting, right? That was scripted. Because that wasn't necessarily momentum. That wasn't necessarily who was playing well, who wasn't. They had him prepared to do that because they want to see him out there. Now, Lucas Johnson and the rotation of quarterbacks, that's going to be what we're going to be looking forward to seeing. That's what we're going to be looking at going forward.
They're all playing.
They're all playing, and we don't quite know. They all are youngsters. Lucas Johnson hadn't played how many snaps, and then now all of a sudden he's going to start at home with a new offense. Tobias Oliver, skill set, don't forget about him. Yes, we were working him on the kickoff return and in the slot, being on the field with James Graham as well, but you're going to have to still try to develop him as a quarterback if that's it going forward. But I love Coach Pat Noden and the way he was able to crumble up a game plan, so to speak, and as the game flows, how can we now find a way to move this ball?
Yeah, I feel like you didn't see so much of each quarterback doing their own thing. It was pretty consistent in what the play calling was. Now, Tobias Oliver He didn't throw the ball quite as much.
Right.
The more I watch this guy and just athletically what he can do, I can't take him off the football field. If you're putting somebody else in a corner, they did it at one point, move him into the slot, move him into the backfield. The guy with the rock in his hands is just a fantastic runner. But it was good to see Lucas Johnson kind of bounce back after looking a little hesitant against Clemson when he came in. Had much more control of the offense. I think losing Kenny Cooper at center and then lose another loss to the offensive line there, that hamstrings you as far as pass protection. You got a brand new line that is just learning how to pass protect. Now you take away two of those starters because of injury, and you've got backups who are even farther down the totem pole as far as learning pass protection and technique there. So I thought they wanted to get the win. They did what they needed to do to get the win, and defensively showed out.
And it's a big game. It's not hyperbole. You don't want to get your first win and then have some trip up, a couple of fumbles, a sack, and then the Citadel comes in. You want to make sure you handle your business. A good opportunity to improve off of a win and get to your second win and be 2-1 to start off the season, which is very good for everybody involved.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about this game. I think, that you have a chance, assuming everything goes well. Now, remember, the Citadel gave Alabama a scare in the first half of their matchup last year. So they'll show up and they'll play you.
We don't want to see upset alert anywhere.
No.
I
can't
know they're
afford
going to
it.
show up. But with that said, if you do control the game in the second half and it's, quote unquote, mop up duty, my question to Joe Ham over here, Jordan Yates, the true freshman quarterback, he's got 4 games that he can play, and you can still use the red shirt on him. If you're taking control in the second half, is this a good opportunity to throw the true freshman out there and see what he could do leading the offense?
It would seem as though, Nerny, not yet. Why I say not yet is this, for the simple fact is that you would be just running the ball. You would just be wasting the clock. You would just be trying to get out of here safely, and you wouldn't be able to evaluate him as far as in the pocket or throwing the ball. You would just get him game reps in the field for things, not necessarily a true evaluation.
And that'll do it for this week of Talkin' Tech. We'll see you next week, hopefully talking about the Jackets working on win number 3. For Joe Hamilton, the College Football Hall of Famer, all-time leading passer at Georgia Tech, Sean Nerny, home team. We'll see you next week when we talk Tech.